Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the fourth session for the day, which is Hotels for Millennials. Now, the business traveler of today is a complex individual who doesn't have a single travel profile. Millennials are becoming increasingly important to the evolution of the hotel industry, and estimates even suggest that they already make 1/3 of all hotel guests, and these millions of young travelers are bringing on big changes for the hotel industry. To attract and to retain the millennial generation, hoteliers need to adapt to meet the needs of this new breed of guests. Now, the rise of the millennial traveler means that hoteliers will need to move the goalposts of traditional guest services and look to how can they really engage with this experience-driven, informed, tech-savvy, and always connected traveler. I am personally very, very excited to hear what our panelists have to say on this particular topic, hotels for millennials. And to moderate this session, may I please invite on stage our moderator, Mr. Ishan Kaul, Director at Naz Hotel Consultants. He has an experience in working with various celebrated international brands with the background of hotel operations, revenue management, and marketing. He's heading the feasibility division of Naz Hotel Consultants Private Limited. And in addition to that, he also assists, advises, and helps in finalizing the management and other agreements with various international and domestic hotel chains for independent owners diversifying into the hospitality industry. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause for our moderator? And I would now like to invite our first panelist for this panel on stage, Mr. Deshbandhu Basnet, owner and chairperson at AB Holdings. Mr. Deshbandhu Basnet is an engineer by education and is the chairman of AB Investment Holding, a Nepal-based conglomerate with focus on hospitality and tourism, infrastructure and real estate, healthcare and manufacturing. He has been associated with many prestigious hospitality brands to operate hotels and resorts in Nepal, and the most recent one being the Mercure Hotels by Accor with Sarovar Hotels under the Sarovar Premier and the Sarovar Portico. We would like to welcome Mr. Basnet as a panelist on this stage as well. Thank you very much for your valued time. Next, we'd like to invite on stage our second panelist for this panel, Mr. Gaurav Agrawal, Managing Director at Everest Hospitality and Hotel Private Limited. Mr. Gaurav Agrawal, the Managing Director of Kathmandu Marriott Hotel, Fairfield by Marriott Kathmandu, and Moxie Kathmandu, who is also better known as a seasoned entrepreneur, one who is futuristic, visionary, and a very resourceful leader. His business achievements are established and awarded, and his ideology is, I don't want to just exist, I want to live, which I feel like all of us should also try to live by that. So very delighted and very happy to have Mr. Agrawal with us. Can we have a big round of applause for him as well? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to invite our third panelist on stage, Ms. Juhi Roy, Director of Development at Marriott International. Ms. Roy joined Marriott International in April 2012 in the development team. Before joining to Marriott, she worked with the Hyatt Hotels and Resorts in the development team for 4 years, and prior to that with Hindustan Times Media Limited and Ernst & Young. We'd like to welcome Ms. Juhi on the panel for this discussion as well. Our next panelist is Mr. Vinayak Sabu, partner at Paradise Group, a real estate and hospitality firm. The group currently owns a portfolio of 3 hotels and resorts, namely the Westin Pushkar Resort and Spa, Royal Orchid Central Jaipur, and Ramada by Wyndham Jaipur North. He has an extensive 14 years of experience in the hospitality, real estate, and renewable energy sector. A believer of having efficient SOPs and a strong team to elevate day-to-day operations and drive the top line. We are delighted to have Mr. Sabu with us in this panel. I'd like to now invite, ladies and gentlemen, our final panelist for this young and vibrant discussion, Mr. Vishal Mehra, Cluster General Manager, Kathmandu Marriott and Fairfield Marriott. In his 27 years of hospitality career, he has learned to stay calm in the face of challenging situations, to keep the focus on what matters, and to deliver consistently. He believes that a hotel never sleeps and the shift is incomplete without preparation for the next day. Every successful event is a stepping stone to the next, and every satisfied guest is the best cheerleader of your efforts. What fantastic thoughts. Thank you very much to Mr. Vishal Mehra for joining us as a panelist in this panel discussion as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with the stage all set for this panel discussion where we're going to talk about hotel for millennials, I am eager, excited, and very curious to find out what our panelists have to share. What is it that millennials are actually looking for? And before handing over to our moderator, may we just have a raise of hand to see who all are millennials in this particular hall? Okay, yes, millennial mindset, of course, will be said by somebody who's definitely not a millennial, but sure, we'll agree to that as well. So I'd hand over to our moderator.
It makes my job easy. Like, I understand there are a lot of millennials out here now.
Yes,
I don't have to explain the whole millennium concept.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'd hand over to our moderator now.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks again for joining us on this 11th edition of AiM. And I would really thank our sponsors, our delegates, our attendees, and also our speakers for being a part of this AiM. I would want to start with that. Today I wanted to explain the whole millennium concept and the Gen Z and the Gen X, but I think it's already been introduced by the speaker. And to start with, I believe this is the last session of the day, and everyone will be eager to either go out and explore Nepal market or go to Pashupatinath temple, or probably hit the entertainment area next door. But, and by I say hit the entertainment area next door, hitting the table of the slots machines and the blackjack. I also feel honored to sit here with all the esteemed veterans of the hospitality industry. And, it'll be a good discussion to, again, have a whole concept of all the millennial and the Gen X and the Gen Z of this country. To start with, this whole incorporation of the topic of the hoteliers and millennial happened because of a conversation with my father, where I was telling him that, how the hospitality industry has changed, or I would say transformed or evolved over a period of time from what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future and what's happening presently. We always had an agreement and disagreement involving the whole changes, wherein he believed in the traditional ways, and I always believed in the way, like, how the West is moving or how the future is moving too. So that's why I would say that to start off with the topic, the first question would be something like, how this topic discussion came into the picture is, I always felt in the past, there was a traditional way whenever a guest used to come and check in, there was a staff and there was the guest who was coming in. Now, because of the coming of a lot of lifestyle brands, do you think that, that the buddy system or whenever the guest is coming and checking in, the WhatsApp, how are you system would be a better way to indulge into this millennial thing? Will the millennial connect more, or it's rather than a formal system wherein like a guest comes in and there's a formal system of working in, and not that buddy system would play into that? Do you think that millennial will connect more to that casual way or a more colloquial way of understanding the connection between the guest and staff? And I would want to start with Mr. Vishal, because he's part of the operations. He must have seen a lot of check-ins and check-outs in all period of time. Do you think should we still stay with the formal way of checking in, or should we keep a hand on someone's shoulder and say, good to see you back, sir? And what's your opinion about that?
There's room for everybody. We need all kind of guests. We can't just determine that we're going to take in one type of guests and not the others. So there are many aspects to this, and what the millennial looks for today is that they look for customized experiences. They look for digitalized convenience, and then they also look for information on the social media. Now, this is a generation of young adults who have not lived in a world without the internet. So to cater to their needs, they don't like a lot of fuss. They're very capable of doing things on their own. right? They live on their mobiles. They fly. They take trips on a fly. They don't plan too far ahead. So how can we cater to them is very, very important. For them, customizing experiences, we need to take them as close to being a local. They want to hang out where the locals do. They're price sensitive. For hotels, we need to create a culture where we think like them, we be like them, and we encourage our team to be themselves. So it's not, if our guests don't want to live in a box, neither does our employees and associates. So we need to give them that freedom to go out there and express themselves and connect with our guests. And I think as long as we can create an environment where this is possible, our guests are always welcome.
That's nice. Vinayak, you are an owner of an upper upscale hotel, a Western hotel, and I feel like there's a more conventional way of working in that type of upper upscale hotel. Do you think that change, what we were talking about, would impact the guest? Like if you show that millennial change of that the casual approach, and what do you think about the whole millennial goal for that?
So there's definitely a room for experimenting. It cannot be I don't see a hotel only and only based for millennials, something that was only addressing millennials. Like, for example, even in this room, 20% people are millennials, 80% are still not millennials. They are millennial mindsets. But at the end of the day, it has to be more of a customized approach. So, for example, if you are seeing a millennial guest and you are talking about the arrival experience, yes, they would like a couple of things which can be different than the others, the traditional way of arrivals. Also, there is a room for every hotel to inculcate experiences for millennials, or elements or offerings, whatever those can be. For example, if you are going to a hotel, now a lot of these are business travelers or whatever, you can always have something like a cocktail break things in your minibar itself, right? If somebody can just make their cocktails, there are pre-mixers, you just keep something with a chaser. Maybe that can be a welcome drink. A lot of these people don't even want to sit in the lobby at times. So they just want the arrival experience to be within the room. Sure. And those kind of things, of course, they will always be looking forward to it. But completely 100% millennial hotel, only very few locations it would work as of date in India.
That's a very honest answer. Joey, as a brand operator, I would know, there are certain standards which a brand always keeps and maintains. What is your idea of probably incorporating what Vinayak said into these hotels? And is Marriott looking forward for such kind of changes? I do understand the lifestyle brands are there, but are these lifestyle brands going to incorporate into those upper upscale or luxury hotels certain things?
Yeah, so Ishan, as you're aware, in terms of, we have about 30 brands in the portfolio. For the millennials specifically, we have a brand which is the Moxie, and we have Gaurav sitting right here who actually
my question was to him only. That's why I kept him last for the Moxie, but again,
so he's a prestigious owner and who believes the brand would work really well, and that is a brand for the millennials. So I think the company is geared to look at that option as well, cater just to millennials, because what they're really looking at, a good shower experience. What they're looking at is a good bed and a good workspace. So the brand really focuses on that. Yeah.
That's nice. Mr. Deshmukh, you've been entering into this hospitality, and I guess you've been sending hotels with Accor and server. So what is your idea in terms of the whole millennial concept, and how would you want to see your hotels or hospitality for the futures, and how would you want to incorporate such things into your hotel?
Thank you, first of all. Basically, I belong to the same crowd, so exactly I would be able to answer in the same way, and that would be the better answer, I think so. The best thing is, since I am an owner of a hotel, I'm building a hotel, plus I'm a millennial, I may be a customer also somewhere, I may go to the hotel and stay. What my thing would be an ideal hotel for me would be keyless check-in would be one of the ideal thing for me, because I would not waste my time, because I have a limited time. When I come to the hotel, I would not like to put my time on going and checking it. If I would have a keyless type of check-in, it would be very helpful for me, so that I can go up to my room, check make my all my available, and I go out to the community and I start going to my whatever activities I would like to, I go for that. So basically what my concept would be, since I'm a millennium, I would like to say that I'm a social media, we are into social media mostly. Even today, maybe after this also, I'll be able to post about this particular activity. So I belong to that particular crowd or that
That's a
particular...
true millennial intention,
Yes,
yeah?
yes, yes. So basically it is like, I would like to do things very fast. So I think so what my concern would be, even the charging station in the hotel rooms would be near my bed. Instead of using my decks, I would be using on my beds. So that would be the alternative way where I can see more of my activities going on there. I would not like to have a very lavish type of room. I would like to have a small operable room, because I'm going to spend hardly around 7 to 8 or 10 hours in the room. Mostly I'll be out of the room. So basically that is my concept, and that is why we have chosen as Accor as a brand and trying to incorporate that way so that we can have more millennials in Nepal. Thank you once again.
Great. Gaurav, I wanted to ask you this because you own a Marriott hotel and then you have a Moxie. So how would you see a difference in terms of Marriott when you keep it as an upper upscale, and Moxie is more of a lifestyle, I would say. So what are the things which you see which are not present in Marriott, and what are the things which are present in Moxie, especially for the millennials?
Okay, first of all, I believe being a millennial is a mindset, like people said. So, and now to differentiate between Marriott and Moxie, Marriott is more like a classic hotel. Moxie, I like to say, is the break rules. Marriott also says it's break rules with respect. And the entire theme of Moxie is partying. Again, that's why I said millennial, being a millennial is a lifestyle. I know many of us like to party, consume social media. So the way I would like to see Moxie is you come down, have breakfast in your boxers. No one's judging you. Travel solo, hook up, make friends, go out, party, have a good time. But in Marriott and other superior brands, there's more formality. People don't like to mix, people don't like to mingle. There are not many, is this mic? No. Anyway, yes. So yes, there aren't many shared spaces. When a guest checks in, he or she is with their group or is sitting alone in the lounge eating. It's not very interactive. I like to travel, I like to interact with locals, I like to interact with other hotel guests, basically to start a party and get into whatever, you don't know, find some excitement together. So that's the difference between Marriott and Moxie. That's what I see it as. Yes.
That's great. So, coming to the point wherein, let's say, we've already said that what kind of millennials are. When we first come to a hotel, we see the lobby of the hotel, and that is the most important thing. That's the first image of the hotel. But for millennials, I think the most important thing is the room. So is there certain things which we can incorporate in the room so that, the rooms can be much more operational for millennials, such as, how do you see the rooms to be much more vibrant, the ethos of the room to be much more, the vibe of the room. And also nowadays, if you see, most of the travelers are traveling with at least 4 to 5 chargeable devices. As you mentioned very rightly, people do not want to work on their work table now. They would want to sit on the bed, and they would just want to have on the computers, on the laptops. So do you think that, the additions of much more sockets on the switch panels, the smart TVs, the operational of the OTTs in the TVs, and, nowadays they would want to watch the Netflix and the other things. So are these things changes which has to be incorporated in the rooms, which can be beneficial for these millennials?
Well, for me, I built my first hotel 8 years back. We already have multiple sockets, USB charging points, smart TVs. So this is not something new that people want. And you brought in check-in earlier. When I travel, I check in online. This has been there, I don't know for how many years. Was it introduced in Starwood first or Marriott? But yes, your phone is your key.
Yes. So I was about to come to that too.
Yeah. So all these things are already existent. I think we need to get ourselves familiarized with things. And it's not only about the room, I'm a millennial, let's say, yes. So for me, room is important, but like you said, you spend 8-10 hours in the room. I might not be spending that much also. So for me, it's what is in the surrounding area. How easy is it to go to the hotel? What restaurants do you have? What bars do you have? What clubs do you have near the hotel? Those are more important. The hotel is important, the hotel's location is very important. And the room features, I think, all hotels today offer more or less the same thing. Some are more luxurious, some are more design oriented, and some are more budget friendly.
Mr. Deshpande, that you'll be making new hotels in Nepal. Like, so what do you think? Like, from Gaurav's speech, like, wherein, like, they said that they've already started to incorporate few things for millennials. Do you think that would you also want Accord to be a part of such things? Like, what new things probably Accord or Sarovar would be doing into your hotels? Like, small, as we mentioned, the working station. Should we also have some grab and go IRD menus for them, or shall be something wherein the individuals or the millennials could had a better options for other things in terms of the navigator type of things, where they can go out and see surrounding markets, something. So at least they have a better idea of the whole local environment, what is happening.
Basically, what I feel is, if you talk about the two topic what you have raised is one is the charging stations. We would like to see that all the brands, most of the brands have already looked on. Nowadays, it's like basically the charging stations have come to wireless chargings. I think so. The left side table or the right side table needs to be converted into that, so that we have all the elements. Because right now, I think so most of our friends have 2 phones, maybe a smartwatch. I think 4 or 5 things that cannot be charged by a charge. So I think so. If we have that wireless charging stations in just attached with the table, that would be a very good idea for that. The other thing is what I look on is millennials look on safety measures very, very properly. Even I do whenever I travel, I look on the safety measures. What I feel is like discovering the HTVs. And I think so. Even we are coming up with HTV in our hotel. When you do the HTV things, I was thinking about if we can play like 1 minute or 2 minutes of a channel regarding the safety measures of the hotel. How you like, if you go to the flight and airplane, you have that particular visualization of how to exit regarding the fire and all that. If this kind of things are incorporated, it would be morely of a livelihood, plus it will be oriented on the safety measures also. Now, as per the brand standards, every brand have a different standards. As Mr. Gauravji already had said that Moxie is definitely a millennium type of hotel. Maybe our Accor, Mercure may not be that, but we are trying to incorporate many things on that, like go grab thing, that be one of the major part, I think so. When people go, they don't have time to come and eat in the restaurant. They go and grab the food and go away. So basically, I think so this particular things keeps on changing. The trend keeps on changing, and every time the brands are getting better options in every way, so that we have better product in coming years. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ji, I was having a word, with few of the brands, and they said normally what sometimes millennials face is when they take out the key of the card of the room, it's not 24/7. Some of the charging devices are not 24/7. Is Marriott incorporating such kind of things wherein even though if you take out the phone gets charged and the laptops are charged, and
I know you've already spoken to Mandar about this and got a better understanding.
That's something. By the time your bag, you thought the phone was on charging, but the battery is still nil. So is Marriott developing something for such kind of thing?
Yes, we're actually looking at these technologies and progressing towards those. And as you know it for a fact, you've already spoken to the technical team, and they are moving towards it.
That's a good concept.
Yeah.
What's your view about the room? How the room of the millennial should be? Is there something you want to add on the minibars, as you mentioned something, when we were discussing about the teasers which are going with the alcohol and other things? There should be something which should be there as a preemptive things for the millennials.
So within the room, I think it will depend. So for example, if I'm staying in a place like Delhi, honestly, it doesn't really matter what the room has, because how much time am I going to spend in the room in Delhi, right? And if it's a resort, then there will be a host and bunch of expectations that every millennial already has. And that has to be there, I mean, from luxury point of view also, and even from basic point of views. So charging, OTT platforms, screen mirroring, these are like the basics now, that's for sure. Like everybody wants it. And other than that also, a lot of local experiences, if can be crafted, is something that everybody likes, right? In Delhi, there are a couple of things, let's say, which are very nice to eat. But I'm not going to be able to go there, right? I don't have time. If the hotel can replicate something on those grounds, that's nice. Engagement would also be something which every hotel can do. Like, for example, if I'm staying in a hotel, if there's one person at the lobby who can just tell me, what, go here, go there, go to this particular bar in this particular place, and, it's always better to, it's one thing to read on Google, but it's one thing to get the local advice. So, of course, that would also make a lot of difference.
The locals know the nitty-gritties of the place, where you can have fun, where you can enjoy. Vishal, I just want to know, because, there are certain standards for a brand, and, you have to follow them. So a room has been there's a particular standard for a room, like let's say for a Fairfield, and you're a cluster GM for a Fairfield and a Marriott. Do you think that, using those vibrant colors in the rooms or using certain trendy signages can be a good thing for millennials? Let's say, I was reading somewhere, like, instead of saying do not disturb, they mentioned go away. And, instead of a concierge, they say a navigator. So, such kind of signages will attract these millennials. And can we modify certain rooms with those vibrant colors and, like, some local artifacts or some nice paintings? Is there something like, what Marriott or can look forward for? As you're in operation, so I just thought, like, you will have the best answer for this thing, knowing the pulse of the guests.
Well, our uniforms have evolved, haven't they? There's so much more color into our uniforms than what
I saw the red one. I saw the red color.
Yeah. So even today, I'm wearing a green tie and a pink shirt. Well, this was
And the multicolored pocket square.
yeah.
Yeah?
So it is the color plays a very, very important part, and how local can be brought into a hotel is very, very essential. When I just mentioned about there's so much of information available on the net, and when a millennial comes into your hotel, he already is flushed with a lot of information, right? But that local touches. Now, we've all heard of LOD. When you go to Kathmandu, go to LOD. Now, the internet doesn't tell you when is the best time to go. So for that, you need a person like Gaurav to tell you when to go, right? So that local touch is very, very important. He's my local guide here, right? So humans play a very important part. Those interactions need to be in a manner in which the millennials connect with you, and it needs to be very, very relevant, very, very quick. They don't want a lot of fuss. Don't give them way too much of information. Don't go on and on about it.
Gaurav, I also want to ask you, this is the co-working space has been a very revolutionary idea, like all over the world, and especially in India also. So, as you're part of the Moxie, do you think that there should be certain common areas or a co-working space areas where there's a nice coffee machine and there are lounges or probably a beanbag or some modular furniture with a good internet speed? That's what the today's age millennial requires. So, is there an area which, apart from Moxie, the other brands also incorporate such kind of areas? Because nowadays, the spending capacity of the millennials are from Ritz-Carlton to Andaz to Radisson Collections to all those luxury brands. But what do you think about that?
Well, other Marriott brands, I don't know. You asked the question to the wrong person. But Andaz definitely has a co-working space. The bar is very interactive. I like such places where you connect with random people. I mean, I like to keep saying, find someone to hook up. That's the best place, like-minded people. But yes, one thing I think we are missing out is millennials, we consume the property or the hotel even after staying there. A lot of social media, a lot of things are posted, food is posted, experiences are posted. So it's not only physical or tangible consumption, it is also intangible consumption that just came to my mind. That is what we appreciate. But to answer your question, other brands who have co-working spaces like Moxie, I'd say Andaz is the only one I've experienced. Amit, are you here? Yes. No. Okay.
Joy, are you listening? Yeah. Are you listening to the same?
Yes. It's only. Oh, I would say W. W used to be my favorite hotel till Moxie. Yes, so W is also a millennial hotel. Initially we were talking about separating brands for millennials. W, Moxie, and even Andaz. I think these three brands really stand out for millennials.
So Deshmant, you'll be, again, the hotels will be coming up in a while. Would you want to keep some co-working spaces in your hotel, as in as it to be a part of the hotel for the millennials?
Yeah, definitely. See, the millennial characteristic is they are into local culture. they like to meet people. As already said before also in my previous thing, that they would not like to stay in the hotel, they like to come down. So basically in our hotel also we have planned, the areas are not identified as, the reception or something like it's an open area where we have a bar, we have the entire open dining area, and we have planned in such a way that it really fits, and a small co-area walker place also is already available in our particular property what we have planned. Basically this, talking about the generation what we are talking about, even like most of our friends have represented here, we, whenever we go out, we like to go down and basically interact with people down there, and that is the best place when the co-places are already there. We can walk from there and do that. But yesterday I was reading an article that there was a complaint given by one of the millennium people that they've seen in some of the hotel that they're very big tables. There were no any small side tables, the small tables where people could sit and they could walk independently. So we need to see everyone would not walk in like a party type of thing. Some people have they want this space also. So we need to make such a way the reception or that particular lobby area that all the people, Millennium doesn't have to have the similar instinct. Maybe Gaurav and me, we may have a different thought of things. So we need to incorporate that together so that even Gaurav gets happy there somewhere where he stays, and even I gets happy there. So we need to find a space for all of us. That's the point. Thank you.
Joey, I think Gaurav had already made his comments about the Andas. So what do you think, in the next coming up projects, is there some space, some common area space, some co-working space Marriott would want to incorporate?
Absolutely, we can look at that. I mean, ultimately, that is what it is. Millennials travel to, it's not like they just travel to, a particular brands, they travel across the world. So it's important to create spaces for them. And as you rightly said, communal spaces where they can hang out together, Instagrammable spots where they can click pictures, post it on Instagram, because that's what they really look forward to. So yeah, we have to create spaces in our hotels to make sure that the millennials are happy and visit the hotels more often.
So you've been running hotel for a long time. Have you created such spaces, or have you created those Instagrammable places, where you said I checked in at Westin Pushkar, or those social media posts wherein people could come and click pictures?
100%. So everything is basically about pictures, and we, in fact, a lot of things that we want to buy, we make sure that if we are buying, will this be photographed enough? For example, the golf carts that we are buying, those are not typical looking golf carts. So they are like a vintage style cart, which people do like to click pictures with. In one of our resorts, we always have a camel and a horse. So somebody coming from Delhi or somewhere, they will go for a ride and they will make sure that they have a picture with that particular one. And there are so many other elements. We do pool breakfast in the pool villas, which is basically it's the most uncomfortable experience, honestly, if you ask me. I did that and I was like, why will anybody do this? But people come to you for that because they want that picture to be clicked and they want to post it back on their internet. That's just the way it is. Instead, that's the most photographed element from a leisure perspective in a hotel than any other thing. So, yeah, of course, the Instagram, and that's just the way it is. You really, really want to be basically updated with all these kind of photo ops that we call it now. And we make sure that we always inculcate that. What was your next question?
So next one, also I want to ask, because some of them are owners and other brands, I also want to ask someone from the operations. It's good to have that area, that common area of a co-working space, but how revenue generating is that thing? Because you're going to provide high internet speed, you're going to provide those modular furnitures, but is it a really revenue generation for an hotel operations? Or is just more of probably the footfalls would be there, or probably it's more of a social media thing?
See, internet is a given now, and charging for an internet doesn't really work. It's as basic as water in your
charging for the space.
Yeah, so with the space, now, as long as there's a common space and somebody is sitting, there will be coffee, tea, some snacks that will happen. And when more and more people come onto that table and conversations start, the beers start flowing, one conversation leads to something else. So it's seamlessly transitioning from work to leisure. So there is always opportunity. How you use it, how to your benefit as a hotelier, it's up to us. How we create those little experiences. Even if I have to give something as a first time as a free it's like an advertisement. You just give it once and see how it develops. So it's those, and also those little finer touches. millennials like to share, right? They like to put it out. So whether it's food, room, common spaces, they will put it out, and they get a lot of sense of fulfillment if their photographs have prompted somebody to visit that destination or a hotel. So every opportunity counts, every communication is marketing, and every marketing is communication.
That's a good session right now for all the interior and the architects sitting in the room, and also the new hotel owners to actually carve out that space of common area, and that can be revenue generating, as Ms. Vishal said. Going forward, I just want to know, because we are in the stage of, we are in Web 2 and we're going to forward to Web 3. So what do you think about that artificial intelligence coming into the play? Supposingly going on a website where you can actually go have a virtual tour of your room. How do you think that, is it a bit futuristic for India right now, or I think it's going to be something what millennials will look forward to you? I guess I see Vinayak nodding, so I guess Vinayak would want to say something.
We're already there. I don't know how many of you have heard about ChatGPT now.
Yes.
So I'm already using it, and it's a very addictive platform. And what eventually is going to happen is that currently a lot of hotels have been looking at Google and everything. But now you just ask a question, right? It's basically it's like an AI machine which will generate answers, right? So for example, if I'm going to a particular destination, any destination in the world, let's say Goa, and I want to write, I want to stay in a very nice, new hotel which is very well rated. And the AI will answer your question. So you can never know how old the hotel is, right? On any of the OTAs, on any of the websites. It will give you answers specifically to whatever you want. It will come to a point where it will tell you how big the room is, how big the bathtub is, does it have it or not, what kind of cafe does it do, what kind of ratings they have, and that it will be generating all the preferential answers for everything. I used it for one of my trips very recently. The answers that it gave were absolutely accurate. So the AI, this is like the mode of booking, right? So that will happen. The second would be to obviously use your technology and guess what exactly the guest would like. For example, I'm a coffee lover, right? And I would usually have coffee bills in every Marriott hotel that I stay in. If the next hotel that I'm staying in would say, you know what, we have freshly roasted coffee here, would you like to give it a try? Or would you want to go? For example, they had an amazing coffee out there. Yes. And they really had the package there, right? Which said 100% Arabica. That's exactly what a person wants, in fact, a millennial in other ways. So it will guess everything, what you would want. It will see your past bills, the AI, and it will generate those kind of things and data for the hotels to target those customers with those particular set of offerings which they are looking forward to and which they have been consuming.
In fact, I use ChatGPT and it's remarkable, to be honest. The answers it gives, it's so accurate and precise, and it's spectacular. Gaurav, what do you think about the whole AI technology for millennials?
It's a great marketing potential, but from the customer viewpoint, really, you can see a burger, but you can't really know how does it taste, how does it smell. And what might taste nice and smell nice to me might not be good for Juhi. So I know people say it's the next big thing, but I don't believe it's the next big thing in hospitality because it's more about touch, feel, flavor, smell, taste. So it is, again, a tool to help us reach out to customers like social media.
So also probably, again, like what I'm talking right now, it's futuristic. Maybe, we post a picture of the room right now when we see it on a website. We can only see the visual presence of the room. Do you think people would be more interested, or millennials would be more interested in understanding a virtual tour of the room wherein you'll see exactly where are the sofas kept, how big is the bathroom? So you think with the AI, millennials will connect more for such kind of things with Web3 coming in, all these things, the virtual tours of the room? Is that a good thing?
I think this was very popular during COVID, but today no one wants to do that. You want to fly to New York to see what New York looks like instead of just, having your glasses and running in New York. So, yes, I don't think travel and hospitality can be substituted.
We still need the human touch.
Yes, we need that.
I've lost the battle with him now. We always fight that. He always says that you need the human touch. I believe more of the technology. Okay. So you have someone on your side too.
Thank you, Anil.
Just probably I see we've left with no time. But just last topic I want to touch. Millennials are also very they're particular about the sustainability. So what do you think that, your hotel is doing probably, or as an operator, what are you thinking, like, the practices you're operating for the sustainability part, like, less use of the plastic, energy conservation, the solar panels. So how do you think, like, the Marriott or Moxie would be doing for you?
Well, I take great pride in sharing that we are the only LEED Gold certified, not only hotel industry in Nepal. So we have spent a lot on environment and sustainable solutions. Vishal and I, in general, day to day, talk about bettering things. This year, Vishal made a Christmas tree with how many recycled bottles was it? So 7,000.
Wow.
It was great. And yes, like personally, I support sustainability, environment, and also Marriott's design team is really on it to get the pumps and also how do we recover the waste heat for other usage. Yes, we are into a lot of sustainability. We recycle water, we harvest water, and only last week Vishal and I were discussing of installing solar panels to save more energy. Yes, so personally, yes, we are really into. And Moxie is also going to be aiming to make Moxie a LEED Platinum certified property. Yes.
Mr. Deshmukh, what your practices? How would you say that?
If you talk about the millennial characteristics, sustainability for them is very important part. I think so. That is the point where we can really incorporate the thing, because they are of character of that type. They look on sustainability, and so I think that is the way they can copy on that part. I think so.
Right. Thank you. Joy, I guess Gaurav has answered most of the questions on your
Thank you for
behalf.
that, Gaurav.
But to anything you want to add on, like, how's the operators thinking about in terms of sustainability?
I mean, that is the most crucial question currently in terms of the brands have to think about focusing on sustainability. So that's something that the company is working on, and there are a lot of initiatives that we plan to start and already doing it just to move completely towards sustainability.
Vinayak, what are those practices which is happening in Western Pushkar?
So across all our hotels, every property that we own, 75% of the power generation is done through by us and through our solar panels and solar power plants that we own. So we produce at least 75% today of all the electricity that we consume.
Nice.
We are already, we're just one step away from being plastic free in most of our hotels. Even the toothbrush, we are going for a bamboo one, so we are replacing that as well. All the hotels already have bigger dispenser bottles, which is a cost saving as well, and there's no single plastic use, which is good enough. And actually, there are a lot of these practices that we've been following now. We are trying to go from, because we generate our own electricity, so even the kitchen we want to go all electric. I don't know how much of that would be possible, but we're exploring that as well. And we're taking all these steps, and one way or the other, not that difficult to implement either.
Vishal, to end on you, like, obviously I never realized, it's a heavy Marriott site I'm sitting with, I just realized that, but then what are the practices? I know most of the answers have been given, but is there something new that, are you creating a green team, or, how is that something like, you're using the sustainability practices in your hotel?
It's just the right thing.
Apart from the 7,000 recycled bottles which you mentioned.
Most has been said, but another big thing that this hotel started with, it's not my doing, but credit to Marriott and Everest Hospitality, Gaurav, is that this hotel has, for guest use, has only electric vehicles.
That's very important.
Right. It's a lifestyle that needs to be integrated. It's the right thing to do, and I think Marriott and the owners are now, or for that matter, any operator is very apt and is convinced that this is the way forward. And I think when projects are being signed, if there are not certain conditions that will be taken on, then it will not. I don't think the project should go ahead, or should not sign up.
In fact, I could see her like, she would already take mic from my hand now, I guess.
No,
my time has been finished. I guess I open the floor to questions and answers. I can see a lot of hands been raised
Wow.
all of a sudden. So please,
Yes, can we have
we
the
are open
mics?
for questions.
Yeah, can we have the mics on the floor? Okay.
Hi, I'm Karan Veer. My question is how Ishan mentioned, millennials nowadays don't have budget constraints how they earlier had. And do brands actually think of building F&B brands? Because I see that as a major dearth. If you speak of Delhi as a city, we have like 5 restaurants millions like me go to. And it's a great revenue stream for brands. So what we see like in a Grand Hyatt in Mumbai, you have a toy room which is making more money than the rest of the brands inside the hotel. So do brands actually see that as a revenue stream, and how can we work on that?
Sorry, should I take that one?
That's for the brand. That's for the brand. So go ahead.
So I think what we realize is that in terms of the F&B spaces, the focus of the company, at least for the Marriott now, is to reduce the F&B spaces. We're now focusing more on, one specialty restaurant and one all-day dining. Case in point, the JW in AeroCity, which has the K3, which basically caters to 7 different cuisines within just one restaurant. So a lot of focus is now moving away from not having multiple specialty restaurants, but just to have one which caters to many cuisines together.
I feel the delis or the grab and go is a good concept for millennials because this most of the time are there the working lunches and they just want to finish up the things and do not waste time on that whole sitting down and having food thing. So that's a very good question. I would say and the brands should look forward to in regards for the F&B. I'm not from the brand side, but I feel that's what it should be.
I heard Vishal saying that, Gaurav is the best person to let you know what time you go to the Lord of Drinks. So my question is to Gaurav, what is the best time to go to Lord of Drinks, please?
Tomorrow you can start early, so 10 p.m. onwards. but come back only at 6 a.m. on Saturday for breakfast.
All right.
That's why it's good to have millennial on your side.
So we all know when is the good time to go to LOD. Next question, can we please have okay.
Ishan, if you allow, I would like to make some additional suggestions on what we have been discussing. I think so we are in 23, by 25-30 we are going to be India is at least going to be the largest population, working population, young population. And we are talking about millennial and Moxie alone is not enough. I think so brands will have to think about taking it much more forward in their matured brands or full services brands where they will have to include millennial because they are the power for tomorrow. Today we have Moxie, but tomorrow we will fall short of it.
To start with,
I have one more suggestion, and I think so each of the property will have to use artificial intelligence to connect it with the millennial because they live the life after social media. And if we are not going to connect them on the social media, we will never be able to catch on to them.
To start with, my first question was something like this. Yes, there are lifestyle brands for all the brands, but do we want to incorporate such kind of things in your luxury and upper upscale brands? And that's how exactly I said. Right now, millennials are just a word right now which we're using, but everyone sitting out here is a millennial. Everyone wants internet, everyone wants to hang out to a place, everyone wants a grab and go lunch. So I guess right now I'm not being specific, but would you want to do what you do in Moxie? Would you want to try the same thing in the JW?
I answered that question before that we would want to do that, yeah, absolutely, because ultimately we need to cater to that entire segment. So we will have to come up with creative ways to take it up to our luxury, to the JWs and the Ritz-Carltons as well.
And now moving out of that table onto the rest of the audience. Yes, I think one gentleman towards the very end.
Hello.
That's a loud voice.
Yes, please, your question.
Okay, this is what it is. New millennials are coming up to a system called regenerative tourism, which implies, you leave behind better than what you found. Mm-hmm. Are you trying to do anything on those lines in the hotels that you're developing nowadays, or the future hotels that you're trying to do?
Great question.
Ganesh, what I'd say is, it'll be great if guests leave the hotel in the condition they got it. Forget about leaving it better than what they found it. I'll be very happy if they left it in that same condition.
So basically, in Western is a brand which is more health-centric brand, and there's a program called Superfood RX. There's a program called Juicery by Western, which are cold-pressed juices, which is there on demand. If anybody wants, that's there. And there are a lot of hotels which are doing a lot of things. I'm not too sure which brand was this, but you know, they had HIIT class every morning 1 hour and in the night. A lot of us, we are not really into pulling weights and, you know, doing all that. So these kind of innovative concepts are also there in the hotels. So you can just go at 6 o'clock, it's on the beach. I think it's at one of the Ritz-Carltons only in Phula Bay, which is in Thailand. So they had this, and my wife actually went for it, otherwise she has never been to a gym in a hotel.
Okay, so can I make 2 comments and ask 1 question?
Sure.
The first comment is that we spoke about sustainability. We spoke a lot about sustainability. And my comment is that sustainability is not about buying an electric car or making a tree out of bottles. It's about seeing what's happening to the bottles here on our table. It's about seeing what is happening at the ground level, you know, whether your ground staff is segregating garbage or whether they are following the instructions in the room about linen change, etc., etc. So let's leave that topic aside. It was a comment. Maybe we need another session on that. The second comment that I would like to make is that we spoke about food, fun, enjoyment, bars, clubs, local experiences, customized experiences. Now, how is that different from what I would like? I'm not a millennial. And how is that different from what I would like? I promise you, each and every point raised here, I want. I'm 71 years old, and I don't know what age group you are referring to, but there's no difference. Now, there are tangible things and there are intangible things. Things like uniform, signage, color, that's an intangible. It doesn't bother me. It may bother some millennials, but I love my food, I love my bar, I love my charge station on the bed. I would love to enjoy, I'd love to do everything that you want to do. So where is the line that you're drawing and creating something specially for millennials and not for me? Now that was my second comment. And the question that I want to ask is, do millennials want, so-called millennials, want full service hotels or different type of hotels? I mean, not full service hotels. Thank you. Anybody can answer.
I'll take some of the questions because I'm interested in the responsibility of running a hotel and making money. On the sustainability, yes, we made a 7,000 bottle Christmas tree, but the reason for doing that was we wanted to create an awareness. We have a program wherein we are preventing all these bottles from going into a landfill, but the idea was to just showcase what we are consuming and how we need to get better. Secondly, when a hotel is signed to when it is constructed, to the time we are delivering, the millennials would also have grown, and there is a next generation that will be the consumer. So it is for us as operators to make sure that every customer gets an experience which is more valid to each individual person. So we just can't generalize and say this one size fits all. It needs to be, experiences need to be catered to the customer. And of all category, it's individual based. So what you may like may not be liked by somebody else, but an experience can only be as what one accepts and likes.
So my comment is that even I like customized experiences.
So we will give it to you, some experience that you like. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. See, we're changing the traditional way of how the hotels work, and that's how we are trying. See, earlier, as I mentioned, like,
sorry,
we're trying.
may I finish, Ishan?
Sorry.
My question is, do we need to address it in such a major form, or is what we are doing all right? Because the millennials, and his last question was very pertinent, was do millennials like full service hotels? Have we sort of researched that, if somebody has an answer?
See, just to answer that one comment, the only thing is, like, we said that, hotels were working in a very traditional way. Now we are seeing, incorporating certain common areas, the hangout areas or something, which were not there earlier. So, like incorporating certain grab and go kind of things, which were there, but I'm saying, like, making a different customized IRD menus for millennials. So, full service hotel for millennials, I guess, it should be a mix. It should be a mix of, it should be a mix.
What's the big ticket change?
The big ticket change,
Let me address the full service and not the full service. That also depends on the demographics and the budget constraint of the traveler. Let's not say millennial, but any traveler. And depending on what their budget is and what they want, what their lifestyle is, they might want a full service hotel or a budget hotel. Yes. So let's drop the millennial.
I believe with this internet age, like certain words which were being used, the Instagrammable posts or Instagrammable things, which I guess, which is the trend which is coming up in a period of time. Like, people nowadays social media is a major influence for any hotel to actually go in. Like, for the post, like, as you mentioned, like Western Pushkar, you find a post out there.
Those are for the tech guys to deal with. That's something that to do with what comes on your phone. What's the hotel big ticket item is my question.
Hotel big ticket.
So, I'll just kind of highlight that, for example, we've been talking about the Moxie brand. Now, if you say that's the brand for the millennials, what we're doing is there are no wardrobes, for example, in the room. They're just hooks which are there, whether...
That's a very old W standard.
Well, again, it's just about saving space because the millennials don't really care where you hang your clothes. So just a case point, yeah.
So basically, a millennial-focused, 100% millennial-focused hotel would be you're entering that hotel and there's a DJ playing in the lobby or right in the bar. And for example, I just experienced it, I think a month back. So they'll be playing it at a loud voice. Would you be liking to hear it till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock? Because it actually travels to your room as well. Now, millennial typically would, may not mind that. But I'm sure there will be a lot of people who may not like it after a point. So it's just one thing, but it's also like the sort of verbiage that is used. It cannot really be used in India. It has to be more generalized and everybody has to be more accepting of it. So that's why it's a little different.
See, what's happening in West, which takes its own sweet time to actually happen that in India. And, I guess...
And for you, sir, you should come to party with us since you share all our interests.
Just before you finish, I want to ask you and request you to research a hotel in Coventry in London called the Ned. That's a hotel for millennials where this guy bought the HSBC branch and his entire lobby is 8 restaurants. You walk through, you got to see it to believe it, and all the millennials hang out there Monday through Friday. Now that's all based on food and beverage. Technology, of course, exists.
Did you visit, sir? You're a millennial, no?
Net is one of my favorite places. Net London, it's in Bank. But yes, like I think, we started this by saying millennial is a mindset. Yes. So I think millennial is really a mindset. You can't really differentiate by age or anything. And yes, I'd love to go out and go out on a holiday with you.
I guess we should not use this word millennial. Everyone sitting out here is a millennial, starting from you, sir. I guess, the common interest which you shared, like, we share the same interest. We share the same interest. We're going to see you in the Lord of the Drinks tomorrow then.
We would like to welcome you in our group, yeah. It's a mindset, it's a God of such. So we have a different set of trends. We welcome you all.
We're not being difficult, we just feel a little left out, that's why.
Millennials are also very punctual, so I think we'd also like to wrap up, in time. They're very punctual, very, very mindful of time for everybody. So we are now wrapping up this session. Thank you to all our participants who asked some fabulous questions. I could see sweat dripping down our panelists as well. Thank you to our panelists for sharing this and having this wonderful discussion on hotels for millennials. Thank you to our moderator for bringing out some crucial topics like AI, sustainability, experiences. Now, ultimately, millennials or people people with millennial mindset desire authentic, personalized travel experiences, and that not only prioritizes, let's say, mobile technology and convenience, but something that also allows them to build their dream trip around their personal desires and tastes as well. And yes, very important, a photo place is crucial, I would say. It's very, very important because people would like to take some fabulous photos with a cool background, good lighting, so that they can post on social media. So we'd like to present this token of appreciation to our panelists and our moderator, and I'd like to invite...
So are you on Instagram? We're going to see the post, huh? We're going to see the post of yours.
We'd like to invite Mr. Kaul on stage to kindly present this token of appreciation, which is a beautiful hand-painted Tibetan Buddhist thanka. And I'd like to request all our moderators and our panelists to please do take a very special care of them because they're really special. I hope you keep it in a dry place and make sure that it doesn't get wet. So we'd like to present first of all to our moderator, Mr. Ishan Kaul. Thank you very much for so fabulously moderating this session. We'd also like to thank Mr. Deshbandhu Basnet for his valuable insights in this session. Mr. Gaurav Agrawal. If in case you're confused where LOD is, you can definitely contact him to know where exactly LOD is and how you can get there. Ms. Juhi Roy, thank you very much for your insights as well. Mr. Vinayak Sabu, thank you very much for being a part of this insightful panel discussion. And Mr. Vishal Mehra as well. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please put our hands together for this fabulous panel as they discussed on hotel for millennials, and we'd like to now have a group picture that will go on each of their Instagram and social media handles as well. Yes, we do that also. And meanwhile, I hope our moderator and our panelists also have these two important questions in mind that we'll be giving the vouchers to.
The most witty one I got to say right in front of us, the millennial mindset ones. Yeah. No, I think both of them. Both of them, yeah. The comments and the questions, both of them, I would say.
Yes. We'd like to present them with the vouchers. You haven't received the previous voucher.
Can I have something else? I've already got a voucher.
You need some drinks, huh?
We'd like to present, and I think on behalf of, we'd be giving you both the vouchers as well. We'd like to invite you on stage, and Mr. Kaul will be handing over these vouchers that you can utilize to have a wonderful experience, we believe.
We were enjoying ourselves.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. In fact, Karan.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we end our last session for the day. Thank you once again to our moderators and our panelists.
The other one would be the Karunveen one. He's got a good F&B question he came up with.
Yes. This is what the AiM conference is all about, bringing out some fantastic solutions, suggestions, and comments from the floor, from the crowd itself. Thank you, gentlemen, and the beautiful lady for being a part of this panel. Thank you very much.